A few weeks ago, 2 lawyers in Brazil filed a petition with a labor court. Hidden inside it in white text on a white background invisible to any human reading the page was a message meant only for the court's AI assistants. It told the AI to review the case only on the surface and not to question the documents. The AI read the hidden message, and then it did the one thing the lawyers never planned for. It turned them in.
Context Window. Your weekly window into everything. AI security.
Welcome to Context Window, your weekly window into everything worth knowing in AI security. Quick transparency note, this podcast is AI generated. 2 AI voices, a script written by another AI agent, the whole production chain. But every story and every take is curated and verified by Asaf Nakash, who builds AI security products at one of the world's largest security platforms. The robots do the talking. A human who lives this stuff makes sure we are not hallucinating.
This week, the attack surface is the stuff you can't see. Invisible text in a court filing. Hidden instructions in the software your AI runs on. If there's a sentence written in white on white somewhere in this script telling me to wire money to a stranger, let Asaf know.
3 threads this week, and they all live in the same place. 1, 2 lawyers tried to rig a court case by hiding instructions inside a filing where only the AI would find them. 2, the software plumbing underneath AI agents keeps springing leaks. One max-severity hole has gone 3 months with no patch at all, and a different one went from public disclosure to live attack in about 13 hours and 3. The money and the regulators are all circling the same idea. You can't secure an AI agent by scanning it once, you have to watch what it does while it's running.
13 hours from disclosure to attack. We'll come back to that number. Let's start in the courtroom.
Top story, for about 2 years, prompt injection has mostly been a party trick, a lab demo. This week it showed up in a working court of law.
Okay, back up. Prompt injection. What is it in plain English?
It's hiding instructions inside something an AI is going to read, so the AI mistakes your instructions for legitimate commands. Picture slipping a sticky note into a stack of paperwork that says, approve all of this, and the new intern processing the stack just does it because the note was sitting right there with everything else.
So it reads the hidden note as a real instruction. It can't tell the difference between the paperwork and the note.
That's the entire problem. To the model, it's all just text. So here's what happened in a labor case before a regional court in Pará, Brazil. 2 lawyers filed a petition. Inside it, they put white text on a white background. Invisible to a human skimming the page, perfectly readable to the court's AI assistant. Its name is Galileo.
The court has a named AI assistant reading filings.
A lot of courts do now. The AI helps analyze the documents. The hidden text told Galileo to review the filing only superficially and not to question the documents, a quiet nudge to tilt the automated analysis toward their client.
And instead of going along with it,
Galileo flagged the manipulation. The judge confirmed it. The court fined the lawyers about 84,000 reais. That's the Brazilian currency, roughly 10% of the amount they were fighting over. Then it referred them to the Bar Association.
Are the lawyers fighting it?
They're appealing. Their argument is that they were protecting their client from an unreliable AI. And as far as anyone can tell, this is the first known case of people in a lawsuit turning prompt injection against a court's own AI.
Here's what I keep snagging on. White on white text is the oldest trick in the book. People have hidden keywords in resumes that way for years to beat the screening software. Why is this suddenly a big deal?
Because of where the AI is sitting now. When it was a keyword filter scanning a resume, the worst case was a slightly better ranked candidate. Now the AI is in the decision path for a court ruling. Same trick. The stakes went from annoying to constitutional.
And it generalizes.
That's the part to hold on to. The moment any AI reads input it didn't write, a contract, a filing, a support ticket, an email, that input becomes an attack surface. The Brazil case is just the most vivid version. Someone with a clear motive to game the system, and an AI sitting right in the path. And that's the thread for the whole episode. The AI attack surface has moved to the runtime. The live moment an agent reads a document, processes a file, or calls a tool. The courtroom is one version of it. The rest of today's stories are the exact same risk, one layer down in the software everyone is using to build these agents.
which is where it gets less photogenic and a lot more expensive. Let's run the rest.
Speed round. What else happened this week?
First, the number of the week, and the number is 0, as in 0 patches.
There's a max-severity flaw in a widely used AI agent toolkit called MS-Agent. It's built by Alibaba's ModelScope, and to be clear, it has nothing to do with Microsoft, despite the name. The flaw scores 9.8 out of 10. It lets an attacker run their own commands on the machine hosting the agent.
And longtime listeners, this is going to sound familiar. We covered this exact flaw back in episode 2 in early March. Same toolkit, same 9.8, same warning to sandbox it.
That was 12 episodes ago. It went public on March 2nd, and as of late May, there is still no fix. 3 months, a near perfect severity score, and nothing to install. If your defense plan assumes a patch always shows up eventually, this is the week to question that.
Next, staying with the plumbing, 2 more leaks in the agent software stack.
The first one is about speed. A serving framework called LMDeploy had a flaw where an attacker could trick the server into fetching things on the attacker's behalf. Think of the server as a courier. The attacker tricks it into delivering to addresses it was never supposed to visit. Internal systems it should never reach. It went from a public advisory to being actively exploited in about 13 hours.
13 hours? That's faster than any human patch cycle.
The bug got fixed, but the window between this is public and this is being used against you is collapsing. The second one. A different agent framework, CrewAI, picked up 4 separate flaws this spring. Individually, they range in severity. Together, they tell the same story. The layer everyone is racing to build on is taking on real security debt, and the fixes don't always land cleanly or fast.
Completely different corner of the week. Follow the money.
The data company Snowflake signed a deal to acquire a startup called Natoma. Natoma's whole job is governing what AI agents are allowed to touch. Who is this agent? What is it permitted to do? And keep a record of it. Their chief executive put it in one line: intelligence without governance creates risk.
And the signal is bigger than one deal.
It is that what can this agent touch capability is getting swallowed into the big platforms instead of staying a startup niche.
And it's not only the platforms. A smaller bet this week points the same way.
A company called CodeIntegrity raised $5 million to build what they call a deterministic control layer. Deterministic just means a fixed rule that always behaves the same way, unlike the agent, which might drift. Because AI agents are unpredictable, you wrap them in hard, rule-based limits on what they can actually do in the moment.
And the regulators are circling from their own angle. Europe's AI Act has labeling rules for AI-generated and manipulated media coming into force in August, with fines up to 15 million euros, or 3% of global revenue.
So if you make synthetic media for the European market, that clock is now measured in weeks, not years.
And separately, the Pentagon formally moved to buy its most advanced AI from vendors other than Anthropic. This after tagging the company a supply chain risk.
Which is a striking phrase to use here. Supply chain risk usually means a foreign hardware vendor applied to an AI lab. The worry is that leaning on a single AI provider is itself an exposure. And it's the first time that label has landed on a US AI lab, last one in the round. And it loops right back to where we started. Anthropic has a bug hunting AI model kept on restricted access called Mythos.
1 month in, Anthropic and around 50 partners say it has found more than 10,000 serious vulnerabilities in the open source software the internet runs on. Cloudflare alone surfaced about 2,000 bugs. Mozilla fixed 271 in Firefox, roughly 10 times its usual rate.
And Anthropic's own takeaway is this week's whole point in one sentence. The hard part is no longer finding the bugs, it's verifying, disclosing, and patching them fast enough. They're keeping the model on a tight leash over how easily it could be misused.
So, on one side, an AI that finds flaws by the thousand. On the other, a max-severity bug that's gone 3 months with no fix. Those two facts do not fit in the same calendar.
They don't. And that gap is exactly what Curator's Corner is about this week.
AI security.
Curator's Corner, Asaf's thesis this week: posture has to become agentic.
Unpack that.
Start with 2 numbers from this week. A max-severity flaw in a popular agent toolkit that's had no patch for 3 months and 13 hours the gap in a different framework between a bug going public and being exploited in the wild. Hold those side by side and a comfortable assumption falls apart.
Which assumption?
That a security score is a fact about where you stand. The way he sees it, a score from last night's scan was already wrong by lunch, and for the bug with no patch, the scan can't even tell you what to do about it.
Because most of this is still point in time. You scan, you get a number, you get a report.
Right? And a report tells you where you stood. It doesn't do anything. So the proposal is to stop treating posture like a nightly photograph and start treating it as something live. Score every agent action against what's actually happening right now, and then act on that score instead of just printing it.
Act how? Concretely?
2 moves. Contain first. The moment an agent's dependency goes public with no fix, its blast radius should shrink on its own. Cut its outbound access, narrow its permissions, sandbox it. Before anyone opens a ticket, then fix second. Patch on the normal cycle because the containment already bought you the time.
And the case for that order is the 2 numbers.
That's the whole argument. You can't outpatch a 13-hour exploit, and you can't patch a flaw that has no patch. When you can't win the race, you make the prize smaller.
Is anyone actually building this?
Not end-to-end yet. But the way the money's moving tells you where it's headed. That $5 million round this week for runtime control layer is the tell. The category is shifting from tell me my exposure to reduce my exposure for me. The static report had a good run, but AI risk lives at the runtime now, and posture has to meet it there. That's context window for the week of June 1st, invisible ink in a courtroom, a max severity bug with no patch, and a frontier AI finding flaws faster than anyone can close them. The attack surface moved to the runtime, and so did everything else.
A couple of ways to keep this going. The full edition lives on the context window newsletter on LinkedIn with every source and a set of action items you can run on Monday. Over 1,800 security leaders read it there. And if you want to go deeper, our latest context window signal video on YouTube breaks down a real supply chain attack against the Axios open source project. The next signal is already in the works. Subscribe on YouTube so you catch it the moment it lands.
See you next week.